I would begin from the last thing you kind of said, which is one of the elements of my current, let's say, turn towards this kind of exposition of interiority in my writing, let's put it that way, more and more so. Creating this kind of intimate space is because there's so many things that have collapsed, and one of them is, for instance, something like the idea of sumud. I wouldn't say it's a total collapse, so people don't get me wrong, but when people, for instance, in Gaza are remaining in Gaza, they're not necessarily exercising this kind of active political agency of sumud. It's also partially placed or partially the result of the foreclosure of other options available. It's the way the world is framing choices for Palestinians in Gaza more precisely, but also for Palestinians more broadly. So in that sense, I think that, there are many conceptions, many things of our past as Palestinians that have lost their ability to really explicate the nature of our existence at this current moment or interval. And therefore, I think that language needs to now bend itself on some level, and we need to rethink, or at least rewrite our place in the world within this horrific moment that, of course, unfortunately, it took 2 years for people to call it genocide, or some people to call it genocide. Not everybody. I mean, it's good that there are some more people calling it genocide, but we should remember that still many countries don't. Many centers of power deny it. That weapons still flow into Israel, that diplomatic cover is still given to it, that many governments are not only complicit, but are willing to even, police their own populations so that this flow of arms and political and diplomatic cover continues. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the elements. I mean, sumud, yes, there was, many attempts in the past by many Palestinian scholars kind of delineate its contours. What does it mean to really stand in steadfastness? And there were various articulations. There's the passive form of just remaining on the land, which does not necessitate from people to take up arms or engage in political activities or activism or of that sorts. And there are elements of this more active sumud, which is not one that is happy to confine itself to things like remaining or baqa in Arabic, but something more active politically, organizational building, mobilization, choosing, if you want, to remain in Gaza out of wanting or having the desire to also defeat, for instance, the Israeli army, and to make sure that it cannot empty the city from its people. So there are these iterations, but I think this is a moment where some concept like that is the grounds underneath it is shaking. At least this is what we're hearing from people from Gaza, but also not from people from Gaza only, but also from the Palestinians more broadly. That these words do not have the same power. In fact, sometimes they feel to Palestinians as they are a burden more than they are something they can articulate their own understanding of the world in this kind of existential fight that we're caught up in the past 2 years and still continues. So yeah, I mean, this is a moment where you need to rethink some of these conceptions, and I think language always comes late to the game. It comes after the heroes have fought and after the people have suffered, and but for those who are immersed themselves in language, there's something that needs to be really looked upon and re-examined in this current moment.